two, one. And we're live.
Hello, sister friend.
Hello, long time no see. We have
I
so much we could
miss
talk about.
you. I miss you so much.
I miss you too, but like you're gonna be here so soon.
I know in 5 days, and yesterday was. Oh, never mind.
Oh, I
Are
don't
we
care.
disclosing the day of your wedding?
I think we can to the true sister friends.
Yeah.
Don't come, don't show up. You're not a
Well, we're
sister
not
friend
telling
if
them. They don't. We're not telling them where it is.
Oh
But
yeah.
yesterday was the 2 week. Like we're down to two
Yeah.
weeks.
Which is insane because people just now is when people start asking me like, "Are you ready?" I'm like, I don't know. I
Well,
simply
you
don't
look
know.
ready. Your hair looks stunning.
Yeah, my hair is ready. Tomorrow I'm doing the final dress fitting, so I'll get the dress tomorrow,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
it'll just be the silly things of like, I need to remember to do everything, and like I haven't figured out what earrings I'm gonna wear yet, and I'm not sure like my other jewelry, like so I need to do
Yeah.
those things, but like I can figure that out in a 2 week period.
Well, I'm so excited, and you inspired me. I bought my own hair dye yesterday, so I too will have freshly dyed hair. My hair looks so gross right now.
It looks fine from here. Yeah, I was really happy with my hair. The crazy thing is that obviously I went to Becca to get my hair done. She did my hair. She cut my hair. Like she, highlights, cut. Uh, we practiced the hairstyle, and then I paid for the hairstyle. And the last time I got my hair done, I had like last minute gotten to someone in Columbus, and just that haircut that did not even include a trim was more expensive than all of
Yeah.
this. Um, so I was like, wow, that's amazing, iconic. Like we've gone over budget for everything for this wedding. And for once I was like, oh wow, this actually didn't cost my entire life savings.
I'm sad that Becca doesn't do my hair anymore, only
I
because that
know.
would be insane.
Yeah, her sister also lives in New York City and has
Hmm.
stopped dyeing her hair because she's like, it's simply too expensive there.
It's so expensive. No, my hair
Um,
only looks like this because I did a little slick back moment last night, and this
mhm.
is like like this is what happens when you have a little bit of hair wax left in your ear. Your ear,
Yeah,
your hair.
your ear, interesting. Yeah, that's like the top of my hair was like teased a little bit, and so it's like I can't run my fingers through it. But anyway, okay, I want to know about your bread update because I think it
Oh,
was Kristen had posted like your bread
oh
was in like a
yeah.
bread bag.
Yeah,
You
so
have like official bread bags.
I do. I have a loaf currently. I'm just like a bread making machine. I have a loaf starting her second proof. I'm gonna bake another one tomorrow. I bought these bags off of Amazon. They were like literally $5 for like 50, and they're like the bakery bags. So they're like the brown paper, and they have a silla
Silicone? No,
no cellophane, like that little
cellophane.
clear
Cellophane.
plastic cellophane, like little clear
Yeah.
plastic part, so you can like see the top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And mostly it's just really convenient because they don't fit in gown size bags. And so
Mm-hmm.
I would have to just like wrap it in saran wrap to give to people. So it's just way easier to like stick it in one of those bags. But I just there's no better feeling than giving somebody a loaf of sourdough. Like they're so appreciative. I love doing it from like it's like a fun science experiment kind of. And I also find it like really relaxing and like interesting, and you like never really know if it's going to turn out right. And then giving
Yeah.
it to somebody and then like really appreciating it, it just like it feels so good. My love language, I like give love through gifts, and this is just like the perfect.
Yeah, question. So, like, obviously, you're kind of new to this journey and you never know if it's going to turn out. When you give these loaves to people, have you cut into them or are you just like, I hope this is good?
So I can pretty much tell from the outside if it's going to be a good loaf or not, but I never want to like assume someone has a nice bread knife. I mean, I'm sure most of these people do, but I didn't have a nice bread knife until I started this. So I do the big slices just so I think it's easier for people to eat. So
Yeah.
I do cut
Okay. So,
into it.
yeah. And then you can, like, ensure that it's good or whatever.
Yeah, but again, I can pretty much tell from the outside and by tapping it and hearing. It should sound like hollow.
Okay. And so, have you only done it's no knead? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's like the easiest recipe. It's a New York Times recipe. I don't understand people that do sourdough, like basic loaves that don't do this because it's no need. Now I understand people that like doing kneading because it's like really therapeutic, or if you want to like incorporate stuff, like our brother Cody was like really into sourdough and he would always incorporate like milk and eggs to make it like really rich. That you can't use like this no knead recipe. Like this is just flour, salt, water.
Mm.
But it's so easy. Like you literally, the only hard part is the mental math of like you have to feed the starter 6 to 12 hours before you do your first proof. The first proof is for 11 to 12 hours, and the second proof is for 2 hours, and then you bake. So you just have to
Mm.
like think like, will I be home to form my loaf after the 12-hour proof? And just like that's the only hard part is like mentally backing up the hours.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so the way I got you to record today is I said, would you get on if I told you a secret?
I've been
Okay.
incredibly so unmotivated, and I don't know why, but I always like don't want to record, and then we start recording, and then I'm like, oh, I like doing this.
Yeah.
So what's
Um,
the secret?
well, it's not like big, but I was like, either you're going to be like, oh my goodness, this is so fun. I'm totally into this. Or you're going to be like, oh my gosh, Zoe, you're copying everything that I do. I hate you so much.
Wait, let me think.
Which,
Are you
which,
are you gonna do
which
sourdough?
I've already done sourdough. I already did it. I already succeeded with it. I've done it once, and now I'm doing a kneading recipe that I do believe is going to become an epic fail.
Wow.
I was,
I
I
can't
was
have
at the
just one thing. No, I'm just kidding.
no, no.
Um, no, that's, I mean, everyone should do sourdough. I'm glad. Like yesterday, I was like, I had dinner with Eleanor and Kristen, and I was like, I
Mm,
can give you starter, but I was hoping they were going to say no because then I was going to have no one to give bread to. So I'm glad that it's
right.
you because you're not in my like people to give bread to,
No. But also like I
but you
don't
do
get
just like
it.
want to be me.
I do just want to be you. No, I was at the grocery store the other day, Wednesday. No, wait, was it Wednesday?
So did
Tuesday.
you succeeded? You had good grain. It looked nice.
We ate the whole loaf. Edison, please don't eat the couch. So, okay, no, I think it was like Tuesday. We were at the grocery store. We were getting food. And I literally couldn't think of a single thing to eat. Like, I couldn't think of a single thing I wanted. And Tanner got a loaf of sourdough bread, which was like absolutely not sourdough in any way, shape, or form. Because it's just like standard loaf. Like, it's like the pre sliced bread that doesn't even look like sourdough. It just looks like white bread. And he's like, how is this even sourdough? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, well, maybe I could just make some. Because also it was like over $5.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's insane. So while I was at the grocery store, I texted mom and I was like, hey, like, what does one need to make sourdough? And she like texted me the things. And I picked up the ingredients. And I
Are
picked
you
up a
using
big,
King Arthur bread flour?
I'm using whatever the cheapest flour at Kroger is.
Okay.
But not the Kroger brand because they didn't have a Kroger brand. Is it Gold's or something?
Yeah, Gold's is do they have bread flour? I use Gold's all-purpose
Yeah.
flour, but the bread flour I use King Arthur.
Oh, interesting. Is King
It
Arthur
does it
like?
doesn't matter. It is. It's the like the nicest bread flour, but it's also just like the only one my store carries. It's eight
Oh,
dollars.
interesting. Oh, geez. Yeah, I can't remember what this was, but I got a big bag of flour because I was like, okay, if I'm doing this, I simply have to commit, I guess, because it was also cheaper, like the larger bags you bought or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so then mom brought me starter. She sent starter with dad and gave me instructions to like feed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that part. And the whole time I was so confused. And like I was just like a fool. And she had dad drop it off like in the morning when he came to work. And like I fed it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, cool, now what? And then I spent the entire day trying to like work my busy schedule, meeting with landlords around this bread.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like sitting, having like a lovely conversation with a landlord, being like, oh my goodness, I need to get home to my bread. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to overrise or whatever. And then I made it on Thursday, and it turned out really good. I do believe it was beginner's luck,
I cannot
um,
believe you and mom have been sitting on this information and no one
but
told me.
this was my
Yeah,
loaf
that looks great. Why didn't you send that to me?
because I wanted to do a reveal on the pod, so we'd
Oh,
have something to talk about. I've been putting it on my subscriber only story on Instagram, telling people not to tell you.
really?
Yeah. So hopefully no one's told you.
No, no one's told me. I'm in the dark.
But
Well,
yeah, no,
that's great. I'm so excited for you.
I made that
Now
one,
we're in
and
this,
then
it's sourdough summer.
yeah, but now I'm making a kneaded one because I just wanted to try something different.
Yeah.
Um, well, and I just wanted to do it within one day because I'm busy tomorrow. Um, and it simply didn't seem to be rising. And then I was like kneading it, and it was literally all it was doing was just globbing to my hands. And
Yeah.
my hands are just two bread globs. So I don't have like much hope for this loaf. And I do believe the first one is beginner luck, but I don't know. We'll see. And also, I don't understand any of it. Like I don't know what to do like once a thing's done. And like mom gave me her starter
Yeah.
because I needed more starter for this recipe. And so then I was like just scared all evening and this morning because I'm like, well, if I screw this all up, then mom's gonna have to get more starter from you.
Yeah.
And I'm still a little worried about getting started back to her because I don't understand how you divide it and make more and when you have to do that. And
Yeah.
like, I don't get it, but I'm just like following her steps by steps. But like, how many loaves do you think you've made now?
I've made five. This is gonna be my
Five.
sixth loaf.
And now is it like it's like, oh duh, this is the next step, this is what I do, or do you still have to
Oh,
like look at a
yeah.
recipe and be like,
No, I know, I know the steps. Hello, Bean. I know the steps, and but every time I'm like, this could be overproofed. My apartment runs so warm that instead of letting it proof for 12 hours, I've been doing 11 hours, and even then, every time I get it out, I'm like, this is overproofed.
and
Um,
overproof just means it's bubbled up too much?
yeah, and it's kind of flat when you try to make your loaf.
Okay. Yeah, so mine's like I think mine's always on like it's never like when it's supposed to like double in size or whatever, like it always like rises some, but like not to a
Oh,
point where I'm
during
like
the first proof, or you just your starter?
both.
See, just my starter never doubles. It says it'll double
Okay.
and it will like bubble up a little bit, but it doesn't double. When I do my proof, it does double,
Okay.
and it's really bubbly and watery and
And your
looks
proof
good.
is just the first time when you make it rise?
Yeah,
Or
that
do you
first
do you
12-hour period.
no, do you proof it twice or just
I
once?
do, yeah.
Okay.
So you let it proof, I do like overnight, but you could do 11, 12 hours. Then you put it on parchment, you form your loaf, and then you do a second proof for 2 hours, which like mine, I'm gonna be done in 41 minutes, and then
Okay.
that's when it goes into the oven.
Okay. Yeah, that's I have 35 minutes to 45 minutes until I need to do something that I don't know. Actually, I should probably look at that. Um,
Well, this is so exciting. I really haven't had the itch to do anything different. Like I know there's a ton of good looking discard recipes, and I think it'd be nice to make sandwich bread, but I I feel fine with my loaves, and I
now,
mostly just like love giving them to other people.
now this is what I don't understand. When you say like discard recipes, aren't they all discard recipes, or is discard a different?
So if you're feeding your bread every single day, then you create a lot of discard. So yeah,
Oh,
technically
every
it
day.
some
Okay.
people do that. Like Jackie O is feeds
Okay.
hers every single day. She's also like making loaves every single day though.
Right. Yeah, she's making it like one per day.
I make
Okay, that's
1 to 2 loaves a week.
okay. Yeah. So this will be my second loaf within a week. But then I don't know. Like I never fed the second starter. Mom just brought more starter. But I guess I fed that. I don't know. Um, I
This is
don't
probably
understand
so boring to the
any of
people that
this.
don't care at all about starter.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll get on to something more exciting. So I see that you went to Little
Yeah,
Frankie.
14
Did we?
minutes of talking about sourdough. It's funny.
When you sent that picture of the menu, I got visibly ill.
It's so good. I love Little Frankie's. It's my favorite restaurant. And we had a bottle of orange wine.
Here,
Yeah,
tell me about it. I
so
can hear you in my
good.
ears. I'm going to go preheat my oven because the last time I preheated my oven, it took 4.5 years to get
Do
to
you
it.
have a Dutch
So,
oven? Are you cooking it in a Dutch oven?
no, I have mom's Dutch oven, but
Wow, mom really said take my things.
oh, no, do you know that I have her mixer?
Do I know that you have her mixer? Yeah, girl.
Oh, okay. She kept you up to date on that.
Yeah.
um, yeah. Well, this was my thing on the mixer. Like,
Wait, we have to
I
give
bought.
backstory. So, our mom is a chef. She's not. Love her dearly. She's not a chef. But she's had a KitchenAid stand mixer for, I don't know, is it like 10 years old?
Yeah, probably for
But
forever.
it's a beautiful light pink, and it's the color of pink that we always just associate with Zoe. Whenever we see like a light blush pink, we're like, "Oh, that's Zoe's pink."
Yeah.
Take it away from here. Oh, and
Um,
also mom loves to give not sentimental gifts, but like material items.
yeah.
She's
And
like
so,
not
like,
one to cut you a check for like your birthday. Like she like wants you to have something to open and unwrap.
yeah. And so, like, for us, for like our wedding fund, we were like, you simply don't need to get us anything. We have all the things that we need. If you'd like to give a gift, give us some cash money, baby. For my bridal shower, I did have like some gifts on there, but like, like we have everything we have. We've lived in this house for 4 years. Like, if we've needed cooking supplies, we just bought cooking supplies along the way.
Hmm.
So I still had like a few gifts on there just because I do know some of like the older generation thinks like giving money is like tacky or like, it's like they just want to give me something. And mom was basically like, I don't want to just give you like money towards your honeymoon because like you're not going to remember that in like 50 years or
She
whatever. Like
really
you're not
wants
going
you
to
to
have a
have
thing.
something to like pass down or give to somebody. Like we can
Yeah.
be like, this was my wedding
Yeah.
gift.
Which I'm like, okay, we need a new couch. But like, okay, we're probably not gonna like, I don't know. Like things are just like not made to last anymore as well.
Hmm.
And so, and it's like, okay, well, if you bought us a vacuum, like we've already gone through 2 vacuums. Like,
Yeah.
so, so I was like, honestly, the only thing I would want is like a KitchenAid mixer, but they don't make that color of pink. And I don't like, I only want the KitchenAid mixer because I want it to sit on the counter and be pretty. And I just like that shade of pink. But their new pinks are not my shade of pink.
They're like too
And,
vibrant.
and so then she was like, "Oh, well, I'll just give you mine." And she literally like I was at her house. She's like literally like, packed it up, put it in my car. I was like, "Mom, like no, like give this to me at a later time. I'm not going to use it. You need to either take my old mixer or like buy yourself a new mixer, but like you need to have a mixer during this time period." And she was like, "No, I've already given it to you." Like she had already like started packing it up. She's like, "No, no, no, just take it. Like I don't use it that often." I'm like, okay, interesting. I feel like you're using it constantly every single day. But gave it to me, and then I started doing my sourdough. But then I was in the grocery store, and she was like, "Oh, and you'll need a Dutch oven." And I was like, "Oh yeah," because the last time I looked into doing sourdough, I looked at the cost of Dutch ovens, and I was like, I simply cannot.
I told mom to get you a Dutch oven as your wedding present. I was like, that's gonna be so great. She can make chili, soup, stew, roasted, anything, sourdough. And I had coached her on what to say to you. I was like, tell Zoe, I want to get you something, material item. I want to get you a Dutch oven. What color would you like? But then, like, the next day, she packed up her mixer and gave it to you. So then I was like,
Yeah,
never mind.
but I think we are gonna. I think I'm gonna get a Dutch oven. Um, but I haven't decided on a color because I like the color you have, but I don't want to like copy you again and get another color. So I'm just deciding on what color to get. But in the meantime, I'm borrowing mom's, hers is like an almost perfect shade of green.
I would like it if it was a little bit darker.
But yeah, it's just our kitchen is obviously this color.
Yeah. I wish it was
And
the
it's
color of your kitchen.
yeah, and it's just
I would have
slightly
gotten I would have
lighter.
gotten green if it was the color of your kitchen.
Yeah.
I agree.
Now
I
they had
think
a
some of their products are just like a little not the right color.
yeah, and then they had a blue that was really pretty too, and I was like blue and green because it also I can't get the pink one because the pink is not going to match with the KitchenAid mixer, and so like I don't know. There's like a one shade lighter than yours, but it's like two toned. Um, I might get that one. I don't know. Undecided,
Speaking
undetermined.
of mixers, I think I might buy the mixer that Jackie O is using, that little mini mixer.
What kind is it?
It's just like one from Amazon.
But it's handheld.
No, it's a stand.
Oh, okay.
But
I was gonna say because I now have an extra handheld mixer that is almost brand new and works fantastically.
oh, I'll buy
Um,
that from you.
you don't even need to buy it. Like I'll probably give it to you. I also feel bad because like I got it for my registry
Yeah.
because I said I wanted it and someone got it to
But
me and
now
I
you have
really
two
appreciated it in the
mixers.
moment. And then also the whole other thing of not wanting the KitchenAid was like I just got a mixer.
I
Um,
don't have a single
but
mixer, and so every time I make chocolate chip cookies, I have to mix them by hand. And let me tell you, it is the worst thing in the world. It is the most serious arm workout. Just the creaming together butter with sugar, doing that by hand is stupid.
oh, I know it's an actual workout. Yeah, because I did that for years. Yeah.
Okay, well then I'll hold off on buying the mixer. I'll keep it in the back of my mind. But I need a mixer. I don't have one. Um, I had Mimi's mixer for a long time and then it died on me.
Oh wow.
Probably because it's 50 years old.
50 years old. Interesting.
Speaking of
Um,
cooking, I'm trying two new New York Times recipes this weekend. I'm making a new chicken thigh recipe, which I'm very excited about, and I'm making a new pasta recipe, which I'm excited about.
ooh. Tanner's been on a making pasta kick, which is really interesting in tandem of like our wedding because we're just having big bowls of pasta all the
I
time.
know. Well, like literally last night, I was trying to be conscious about what I'm eating. Eats an entire bowl of lemon pasta, eats an entire thing of calamari, drinks two glasses of wine. I'm like, I
Oh,
need immediate happiness more than like
yeah.
feeling better the next day.
I haven't drank since the night that, so when I was in New York City, we had a night out and like I simply just didn't have enough to eat that day. And then I like drank a lot on top of that when like I'm a person that like if I have two drinks, I will be hungover the next day. And I simply thought I may pass away. I may not live to see another morrow. So embarrassing. Just like it's
Zoe
not
was
like
down bad,
I was
so bad.
I was down bad, not even crying at the gym. Like can't get out of bed. I may need IV,
We
but also
we
like
looked into
an
how expensive it would be if we had someone come and stick an IV in Zoe.
yeah. But also like I hate an IV, and I was like that would just make me pass out and maybe make a scene and make things worse. But I was like I simply like may never actually drink again, and I think I may still today a week out like I may be a sober queen now because I simply like felt so horrid and
It's
like
just so ironic because a few weeks back I got really hungover from a night out with Eddie when we had like that really nice dinner, and you were giving me so much slack for being old and being hungover. How the turntables have turned. You're like, it's embarrassing to throw up from alcohol. How many times did you throw up from alcohol?
the it was the next day and I tried eating 3 times and every time I stood up I threw up. It was horrible. It
Zoe
was the
accidentally
worst.
threw up on her pants. So sad. So Tanner, being the pjom that he is, um, which pjom is, what is it? Gem of a man?
Precious gem of a man.
Precious gem of a
I don't
man.
know.
Hand washed them in the sink, and then he was like, "Oh, these are Zoe's favorite pair of jeans. I'm gonna hang them out the window," which
Which like
also tells you
literally
how intoxicated Tanner was.
literally why.
And also, you guys were like really kind of high in the sky. Like, I just don't know why he did that. But so the window opened just a little bit, so you can't like unalive yourself. And he hung them out the window, and then as he was pulling them in, put a little hole in them. And then the next day, he was like, obviously, and then in Zoe's drunken state, he was like, "How much are your jeans?" And Zoe's like, $150.
I think I
And
said
then,
140,
and then the
which they
next
were
day,
originally.
and then the next day, he goes to reorder them. There's a little hole in them, and they were like
They were
50
half
bucks.
off.
And then so I bought them too because I was like, "Oh, they're only 50 bucks. I love those jeans," and I wore them last night, and I got lots of compliments on them.
Yeah, now I took mine and I sewed the hole shut, and you can definitely see them because it's like a definitely like a it's just one plain color wash and like with no
No
distress marks on it.
distressing at
Well,
all.
mine has two distresses on them, and like the jean quality, like because they're a stretch, like as I was sewing them in, like more of the elastic was like just getting pulled into it, so I just couldn't make like clean a clean fix on them. But Tanner ordered, they had like straight and curvy or something. Mine had been straight, and the curvy just like, it was too much fabric in the crotch area for me. So I just told him to return them, and I would just have my Holy jeans, and it was fine.
I now that I've discovered curvy, I think my clothes fit so much better. Like all my work pants are like the curvy because somehow I turned 25 and now I have a butt. And I had also got the curvy ones and I think they fit me perfectly. I was like, these are
Well,
great. They don't feel
yeah,
like the best quality of jean. Like they're from J. Crew Factory Outlet. Link in the bio. But if you want your $50 pair of jeans and you can match us, I don't think they're nicest quality as like my old Madewell jeans.
no,
But they're
yeah,
still like they're nice jeans.
yeah, yeah,
They're now my
they're
new favorite
good,
pair of
but
jeans.
yeah, I just like them because they were just so comfortable.
Hmm.
But also I find with like all jeans that are elastic, you essentially you after a while like they stretch out and you get that like wavy texture,
Hmm.
and I dislike that because it's like usually they're in like pretty good shape besides that, but you can't do anything to
Once
fix that.
that, RIP those jeans.
Yeah, and then it's just like so embarrassado. But yeah, I don't know,
Embarrassado.
embarrassing.
Um, okay, so you have to talk about your day of travel because I don't know if you watched the vlog I edited,
Oh my gosh.
but it like abruptly ends, and then I'm
Yeah,
just like sitting
because
on my floor, and I'm like, Zoe's
yeah.
still trying to get home.
Yeah, my our internet here has been absolutely horrid, and I knew if I even just tried to send you the videos, like it would have taken a year and a half to get the video footage to you, but I do have it on my phone. So basically, Saturday afternoon, Tanner and I are taking Uber to the airport, and we decided like we'll take an Uber in to Kinsey's and an Uber out because it's like $60. Whereas if you take the like trains and subways and stuff, like you can get in cheaper. It just takes a little bit longer, and also like it's a little overwhelming to use the subway system. We're in this Uber going back to the airport, and we're like, this is so nice. Like, we're gonna get home like 6 p.m. and like
And you have all of Sunday.
we'll have all of Sunday to like recoup, get things ready for the week because we both had like really busy weeks this week. And so we get to the airport, and they're like, this flight's been overbooked, $600 if you take the next flight. And I didn't even know they were talking about our flight at that point. Like we were just in like the Delta area, and they were making some announcement, and I told Tanner, I was like, oh my goodness, if like I can get like money for a delayed flight, like I will just fly out of here tomorrow. I'll just like go
Also,
back and stay at Kinsey's.
more context, Zoe didn't do any. Zoe was only here for a day and a half.
Yeah,
And one day, completely shot because she was so hungover.
yeah, like I was so hungover, I like had already wasted
And so, like, one
most of the
last
time.
dinner would be fine.
Yeah, and I was like, this would make up for that,
And
for
Zoe
my
is first and foremost
stupidity.
a businesswoman.
And no, and like also like honestly, like I just like uh, things are so expensive for this wedding. Like things are like everything is like we budgeted. We're like this is what it's going to cost. Everything is like magically to cost more. Like because like oh my dress is like so broken that it needs so many more random alterations. Like oh like when you get your flowers like just kidding. We said it was included. It's not all included. Like so these bills are just like adding up. And I'm not in a space right now to be just like blowing funds or whatever. And so I was like, if I can get some money, this would essentially pay for like the whole trip because the trip wasn't that expensive. We got like $200 flights and like one hotel, and so like it wasn't crazy expensive. Oh, but it turned out to be. So so it's like around they're offering like $1,000 for our flight, and I was like talking to Tanner. I was like, okay, like honestly, that would pay for my whole trip. Like, do you want to also stay? Like, that would be a crazy amount. It would almost pay for our wedding photographer. Like, we did half and half, and we had a bill that was due this week. It was like it could pay for like most of our wedding photographer. Like, and he was like, no, I need to get home. Like, I have a busy week. I need like our parents are taking care of the pets. He's like, no, I will go, but you stay here because you can just stay with Kinsey. We don't need to get a hotel room because Kinsey's apartment is not large, and so like, we wouldn't all be able to
It
fit there.
sleeps three.
Yeah. And so,
And Eddie was here, so Zoe would be the
yeah.
third.
And so I went up to the ticket counter and I asked them like what the different flight options for me were. And they weren't fantastic, but they're like, I can make do. I can do some of them. And so then we get out of line for that. And like, so like, I'm just like thinking about it. I'm like texting mom. I'm like, hey, like, could you come pick me up from the airport? Because Tanner would be driving my truck home from the airport. Mom, come pick me up. And she's like, yep, that's good. And so by the time we get to that point, they need 9 people. I get back in line. I'm the 8th person. Tanner, once again, is like, yep, nope, I'm going to take this flight home. So he could have been the 9th person, but someone else was the 9th person. And so Tanner boards the flight. I have to stay there because they have to then book you, which that's the crazy thing is like, until they actually start getting people on the plane, they don't like rebook your trip. Which is like, how about you rebook me before I know? But anyway, so like either way, they were gonna kick 9 people off if no one took this deal and you would have got nothing anyway. So they board. It takes like an hour for me to get my new flight information and my travel voucher. I mean, my gift card. I got a $1,400 Visa gift card for this. I was like, we're making money, baby. This is amazing. This is like paid for my whole trip. This like the exact amount would like pay for my wedding alterations like the next day. I'm feeling great. And then I'm like, okay, now that I'm on a business venture, I'm not Ubering back to Kenzie's. I'm not wasting another $200 doing that. I'll be taking the subway.
Meanwhile,
and get there.
I'm pickleballing.
Kenzie's pickleballing. And so I start the journey back. And this whole time Tanner texts me, he's like, we're still on the runway. First they had a weight distribution problem. And then they were getting some luggage off. And I don't know if that was to help the weight situation or because the people that were not going to be taking the flight, like I know some of them had really wanted their bags. So, but I'm not sure what happened there. But they sat on the tarmac for 2 hours. It takes me about like an hour and a half to get back to Kenzie's. So I'm getting back to Kenzie's. Tanner's still sitting on the flight.
Zoe gets out downpouring. She shows up to my apartment like a wet dog.
Yeah, and so I took subway. I need to take 2 different subways. So I well, first I did like the whole airport above ground thing to get to the subway station. Like you had to walk outside. I found the subway. I took it to my stop. I transferred to a different train. I got to that stop. I was supposed to take a 3rd train and I just could not find. I needed like uptown and there was only downtown for that one. And so I know sometimes in subway systems, like you have to get up and you have to physically go down to a different one to go like the other direction, whatever. So I get up, I go down that other one, I find my way back to where I started. I like went up and down this one elevator like 3 times, could not find where I was supposed to go. And then it was like a 30-minute walk. And I'm like, I'm just gonna walk until it like starts to rain and then I'll just get an Uber to Kenzie's. Cause like the whole thing is like, we do know a storm is coming. At this point, we do know there's a storm a brewing. And so I start walking and it goes from absolutely nothing going on to complete downpour. And so I pop into like just a little overhang and I call an Uber who then insists on picking me up on the other side of the street, like where I have to run out, cross the street, come back over, get into his car. And it's absolute downpour this entire time. And so I go and I'm completely drenched. Like at that point, I should have just continued walking home. So I get back to Kenzie's, we go to dinner, Tanner, and now they have taken them, I can't remember how long he sat on the plane for, but they were like they were the next one in line to leave when they decided they needed to wait for the thunderstorms. So I think they sit on the tarmac for a long while and then they eventually deplane. And then at 10 p.m. they canceled the flight, which I'm just feeling horrible for Tanner for because like I got some money out of this thing and Tanner wanted to be home. A delicious dinner. I got a delicious dinner. Tanner wanted to be home. He sat at the airport for hours and hours and hours, then got no money. And also like they had at that point been running out of flights because people had been rebooking, knowing that like flights were going to be canceled. So he stays at the airport until midnight trying to get a new flight. And he gets a new flight for the full Sunday night at like 10 p.m., which he's like not thrilled about, but it's like, what do you do? And this whole time I was like, I bet my flight's probably gonna cancel too. My flight's at 6 a.m. the next morning because when I had booked, like there was still some flights available. And it wasn't a great option, but it was like, whatever, I'll do whatever. So I just like try to go to sleep. And like at the time, so Tanner comes back to Kenzie's apartment because there are simply no hotels at this point in all of Manhattan and all of Brooklyn and all of anywhere, besides a few that were like absolutely completely jacked up in price. Like we saw one hotel that was $2,000. And at that point, I would have gone to that hotel and slept for maybe 3 hours And you're like, okay, Kenzie's coming back here. Luckily, Eddie knows a friend. Eddie goes and stays
It's
at
his
friend's
brother, yeah.
apartment. Okay, stays there. And so Kenzie graciously opened her home up to me and Tanner, two very wary travelers. So then I get up at 3:30 and my flight's canceled, but it's only the second flight because I have a flight to Detroit and from Detroit to Columbus. And I was like, that's fine. I'll just get on the flight to Detroit and then I'll have mom come pick me up in Detroit. That's fine. It's whatever. So I go to the airport and they won't let me check in. Now, I don't know if I'm not clear on if it's because I had this weird ticket because they like wrote me a thing and it was like, you have to check in at the gate, at the normal check-in place or whatever, or if it's because my flight was canceled. But like, I talked to a guy, he's like, go to the kiosk, just scan it. It wouldn't let me go. And he's like, okay, get in this line. I get in that line. Someone else is like, you're in the wrong line. So then I go into a different line for half an hour. And like, I'm in these lines knowing that I'm not going to make it to the front until like the flight needs to board. And I'm trying to like talk to someone on the app. Like I'm doing everything that I'm like trying to do. And I'm like running out of time. And I'm like knowing that I'm not gonna be able to get on this flight. And it's so silly because I literally have the ticket. I just can't scan it to go through security. And like, because it was like, I think it was because it was like the second half was canceled and like, you can't just like go on and abandon without a plan, I guess, maybe. I'm unsure. I'm still to this day not sure.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me either. But
And the Delta employees were also so confused.
keep talking.
On the
I
whole
can hear you.
situation.
I have to go preheat my oven now.
Okay. So then I Ubered to the airport because it was 3:30 in the morning and I simply like was too scared to navigate the subway by myself trying to get there. And then I was too scared to navigate it home and I was just like so tired at that point that I took another Uber back home. So boom, I've spent like $150 on Ubers for like a trip to the airport that I did not need. So then I go back, I don't have a flight. There's one flight in the afternoon on a different airline that's like $700 into a different part of Ohio, Cleveland, I think. And I was like, okay, this also sucks. And so Tanner and I make the ultimate decision. We are gonna get on a train and we are going to get out of the city and we're gonna go to an airport elsewhere and try to fly from somewhere else. So we go to the train station. I've never taken a train before besides the Long Island train thing. And I like went with people that had been on it before, so I didn't have to navigate or anything. But we go to the train station. We're at the train station, like figuring out where we need to go. And Tanner looks at these tickets he booked for us for DC in the evening. And he booked them for the next day because we had been so tired, so weary. Like,
Yeah,
we were
this
just
is what
trying to
happens
find a
when you're
flight
making travel plans at 3 in the morning.
at 3 in the morning and like trying to make them so quickly to snatch them up because like all the flights are getting like canceled so quickly. So we find a few options and they're all so expensive and none of them would get us home until Monday. And so we're like,
And
we're
Zoe
gonna
has
get
her dress appointment on Monday. Like she has to get home by
at,
Monday, like by Sunday
at
night.
10 a.m. Yeah, like at 10 a.m. out of town. And so we get a rental car with Avis. And so we take the train. The train was beautiful, wonderful, amazing, so cute. We get to DC. They're like, you can't get off because there's a fire alarm currently going off. And so no one's allowed to get off the train. And so we get up and we start talking to other people that are in our cabin. And everyone has been doing the same thing. Everyone was trying to get home from New York and everyone was like on different flights with horrible stories. Everyone has a horrible story. And we make friends with these people and everyone's just like laughing at this point because it's like, we're at the train station. We finally made it. We're not allowed to get off the train because there's either a fire or just a fire alarm being pulled. So we finally get off. And then Tanner and I have like a little bit of time before our window when we need to pick up the car. And we went and we looked at his apartment he signed a lease for because he has to return to the office in September. And so he'd already like put a down payment down.
The office is in DC.
Yes, and this office is in DC. We're here. It's like weirdly ironic. We're like, okay, we're gonna go check out this apartment that you signed a lease for. I think at that point he'd done the application. He hadn't actually signed it. Apartment is super cute. It's a cute little gym. There's a like little pool up at the top. It's just like this little teensy tiny room, but like it doesn't feel too claustrophobic. I'm sure once he gets like a bed and furniture in there, it'll feel much smaller. But and it's like a new build. It's cute. I like it. And we're like, okay, cool. We go to the Avis place. First of all, it used to be at the airport, and Tanner's been to the Avis at the airport before. So we went to the airport. Avis is not there. So then we get back down on this metro. Avis has moved out of the airport. We get there and we see people like bubbling out of the office. And normally, like with Avis, like you don't even have to talk to someone. They just tell you like pick up your keys at this spot. Like you get in your car and you go. And we're like, oh boy. And so we go to try to do that, and everyone's like, hey, they're not honoring any reservations. Basically, they're doing first come, first serve. Go screw yourself. Like, basically, like, and they're like, Avis is known for doing this, of like canceling reservations when there's like an influx of people, because they're like, we're just gonna rent as many cars in a short time span as we can and like make sure that our car's off the lot. Who cares about customer service? So then Tanner stands in line, and then like he has like, it's like an hour reservation window or something. And he's like, I don't know if I'm going to get through this line during this reservation time. I don't know how many cars are out on this lot. Like, I don't know if we're going to have a car or not. And so this whole time, like, it's been challenging, but like we've been kind of like laughing and been like, oh my goodness, travel day from heck. But so then I call Cody, because Cody lives like a little over 2 hours from DC. And I was like, and I had been keeping updated on this whole like saga, just like for someone to tell this funny story to. And I'm like, is there any way, like, we don't know if we're getting a car or not. Like, is there any way you can come pick us up and like at least take us back to your place, and then we'll try to figure something out from there. And he was like, yes, no, of course, like I'll just be on standby, just like let me know and I'll start driving. And that's when I started crying a little bit. I had to hang up on him because I simply wasn't gonna cry in front of, there was like so many children outside this Avis crying, and their mothers were so weary. And I was like, I, an adult, cannot be crying with these children right now. So I hung up on him and texted him. I was like, sorry, like I just simply can't cry in front of these kids. So it was just so nice. And he was just like so sweet about it.
Cody will really pull through, that man.
Yeah,
Our brother, like, I've had times when I was like living in DC and he just like pulled through. Like, he drove to my apartment and just picked me up because like
yeah,
I needed it and whatever.
yeah.
Anyways, go
So,
on. That's nice. Cody will
um,
always be there.
Cody will always be there. But anyway, so luckily, we finally eventually got to the front of the line, and we got a car, and we were like, okay, cool. Because also it was like, if Cody drove us, like, we still would have been 5 hours away, and either like he would have had to keep driving us home, or mom would have had to come drive 10 hours to get us, like, or we would need to get a rental car somewhere along the way, which probably we could have gotten a rental car somewhere along the way. But we got a car, and it was like 7.5 hour drive home. We got back to the airport at midnight. We got into my truck at the airport, like, and then went home. But like, they like really artificially inflated the cost of the train, because a whole bunch of people were buying train tickets. The driving across the country was obviously kind of expensive. Actually, honestly, not that expensive. I think it might have been like $80 plus more money in gas. So many Ubers to and from the airport. Train tickets, like things just added up. So it ended up costing like a dummy amount of money. So basically, like, and because like we have credit cards that like do like travel reimbursement, like if your flight gets canceled, unless if it's weather related. And Tanner's whole argument has been like, the reason they didn't take off originally was because of this weight distribution problem. So like, don't tell me it's weather related. But it's unclear at this time if we'll get like any money back. But if we don't get any money back, all of my Visa gift card will just simply go to reimbursing ourselves for like the travel hecticness. But like, had I not done that, we would have been just out everything. So obviously, looking back, Tanner should have gotten the travel voucher. And
I fly home next Saturday and I'm nervous.
Oh yeah, well, and then like we're gonna go on a honeymoon, and like, and I have like another work trip before harvest, and I'm just like, I'm so terrified of flying now, because like, just like you have no control. And like the issue is like when one flight gets canceled, they all get canceled, and so then everyone is like fighting for these limited resources. And like, thank goodness you have an apartment, because had it been
you would have just been
like just
sleeping at
Tanner
the
and
airport.
we would have been sleeping at the airport. I saw people sleeping at the airport because like there just wasn't a place for people to go.
I just want it
Um,
to be known that I sleep on the world's worst mattress. It was like $60 from IKEA, and Tanner said it was comfortable. So
yeah, I think it was because of how tired we were. Like I think a warm piece of cardboard on a floor would have sufficed. But no, I really appreciate that like we were able to have a place to stay. But yeah, it was just horrible. And like there's just like nothing you can do. It's like such a sense of being out of control and like it feels like there's absolutely no retribution for these airlines, that it's just like sorry, you're out of luck. And obviously they have to like deal with the weather and stuff, and like eventually Tanner's flight was canceled because the pilot just timed out. Like he was
yeah,
just done with work for the day. And it was like, had they had another pilot on standby or something, like at least they could have gotten those people out. Because then, like the flights from Columbus were canceled, and then like Becca, her sister, was trying to fly to New York, and her flights were canceled. And they're like, there's no reason. Like there was no reason for these to be canceled. And it was like, no, because of the issues they had on the east side, all
yeah,
these other flights for days and days got messed up.
terrible.
But just craziness.
Yeah, literally the travel day from hell. That's just like
Yeah.
so horrible.
Yeah, it was so bad. But now I can say that I've like taken the train. I loved the train. I'm so jealous of you and
I
Eddie
love that
getting the
you love the train.
train back
I
and
I
forth.
like the train. I just take the train like every 3 to 4 weeks, so I'm like kind of over the train.
No,
But
I'm sure if you took it all the
the
time, it would be
train is
less.
so premium to flying
Yeah.
because there's like no security check. And so you can show up 5 minutes before the train leaves and you just pop yourself in your seat. You don't have to go into airplane mode, so you always have service. There's outlets in every single seat. Like the
Yeah,
seats are
like you
like pretty comfortable.
yeah, and a lot of the people were just like working, and it's
Hmm.
like I would rather take a 3 hour train than drive like an hour and a half, because you can like work during that time. You can do
Yeah.
things during that time, and like physically you're like, because like then the 7.5 hour drive home, we were like so tired versus like
Yeah.
sitting on the train, we were just like having ourselves a good time.
It's like kind of like a Disneyland land ride.
Yeah, well, and it's like you actually see the
Yeah,
countryside.
and but when it's like the windows are so big, it's not like a plane
Yeah,
at all. Where like,
and like it feels like the air isn't like stuffy and congested. Like yeah, it was
yeah,
just good. It
no,
was
I'm a
good.
big, I'm a big Amtrak supporter. I'm glad that you've done it because now I feel like when you guys are in DC, if you ever like want to take a weekend trip up to New York, if you do tickets not the night before, they can be like 20, 25, $30,
Yeah, yeah,
which is like
for sure.
so
Like
fun.
yeah, because like we could fly to DC and then like pop over to you and then just go back, and but yeah,
Yeah,
but yeah. So that was my story. Um,
that's so crazy.
we'd need to start making our breads, I fear.
I
Um,
know.
Want to wrap her up
So
for the week?
we will maybe have an episode next week. Yeah, we should. We'll have a, we could technically do it in person if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Because I'll be home on Saturday. But we'll probably have another podcast episode next week, and then we'll have a swirly girly vlog part two the week after.
Yes. So I'll see you then.
Oh my god,
And
toodaloo.
now,
Wow.
and now I can post about my breads.
I'm just such an influencer.
You are. You influenced me, and I thank you for it. Unless if this bread turns out bad, and then I will give up on my sourdough journey after the second loaf.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.